Canada's Wonderland, my first ever trip outside of the United States. I am so excited. I got to the airport early for my 9 a.m. flight, July 19th, 2024. If that date rings a bell, it's because it's the day that the software that all the airlines run off of, CrowdStrike, crashed. So every major airline had to issue a ground stop on all flights, including mine. Good thing I had Auntie Anne's for breakfast because my flight that was scheduled for 9:08 a.m. would end up getting pushed back to 10:03, 11:35, 12 o'clock, 12:29, 12:52, 1:20, 1:55, 2:10, 2:35, and finally 2:55 p.m. I did have a good amount of legroom, so there's that. By the time I got to Canada, it was 5 p.m. Originally, I was planning on visiting Canada's Wonderland 2 days, but now I would only be able to visit tomorrow, Saturday. Good news is that American reimbursed me 400 Canadian dollars, so that was cool. I don't know what the hell's going on with cars in Canada, but I'm going 104 miles per hour here, and it feels like I'm barely going over 60. All right, hotel room review. Bed, nothing. Stuff over here, desk. Window's kind of dirty, a little bit. Over this great view of police station. I believe that's a police station. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a police station. So I should probably stop filming that. Toronto. That way, I think. Or like the main part of the city, maybe not. Holy sh. Alright, that's never a good look right there. Counter review. What the fuck is this thing? What is this? I need twice this much. Twice. Okay? I don't need the toilet, I need counter. Had some proper Canadian food and went to sleep. Got some rest, and now it's time to hit the park. Would have loved to be here to be able to visit the day before to get some of the smaller stuff out of the way, but that's the way she goes.
That's the way she goes.
That's the way she goes?
That's right. That's the way she goes. It's the way she goes. Sometimes she goes, sometimes it doesn't. She didn't go. It's the way she goes.
First up is Wonder Mountain's Guardian, an interactive shoot-'em-up roller coaster. This is a pretty cool way to start off the day. You zoom into the mountain where you have to zap some bad guys. Definitely a pretty unique ride. And the final boss is a dragon, piece of cake. Canada's Wonderland definitely has some great entertainment. First show of the day was Cirque Ambiente. Sue me. Alright, this show had gymnast trial cycling, hula hooping, juggling, and rollerbladers. The first Tim Hortons I've seen in Canada was at Canada's Wonderland, eh? Alright, sorry. Alright, there was a cliff diving show that I waited for, and I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. But hear me out. All 4 divers were great, and their dives were spectacular, but I thought this was more of a show with multiple sets of dives. But no, the 4 divers only jumped 1 time each. Still impressive, still cool. I just set myself up on that one, so that's kind of my fault. Yukon Striker, a B&M dive coaster. Y'all know my thoughts on dive coasters. Okay, they're kind of mid, but still fun to ride once or twice per trip. Immelman. Flight Deck, an SLC or suspended looping coaster. Quite possibly my first real SLC. I'm not sure. I don't feel like looking it up. But this one was rough and operations weren't the best, but we got it done. Time Warp. This ride has since been removed, and it might be the most polarizing ride in the park. Here are my thoughts. Time Warp. What in the fuck is that ride?
That is so bizarre.
But I actually enjoyed it. It's such a weird ride, and it definitely put a bit of fear into me. Got served the most basic amusement park cheeseburger. Behemoth, a B&M hypercoaster, and a fun one at that. Surprisingly, this is one of 2 B&M hypercoasters at the park, but that doesn't really mean much considering its bigger brother is an absolute monster of a ride. So it just happens to share the same space as Leviathan, like I said, a monster, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Vortex, built on top of the center mountain in the park. It's pretty cool to have a roller coaster on top of this thing. This is an aero suspended coaster, so you're just kind of hanging down below the track. This whole pathway area right below here was one of the busiest parts of the park when I was there, so they must have filmed this POV thing first thing in the morning. But anyway, I haven't ridden a bad one of these aero suspended coasters. They're all a blast, and Vortex is no exception. Next up is Castaway's Stunt Dive Show. This is a great example of the quality entertainment you can find at Canada's Wonderland. It's just a fun show. It has stunts, skilled diving, and even some tramp wall stuff in it. I really think the show built up to the finale really well. It's just an all-around enjoyable show. Leviathan. Okay, we hinted at it earlier. Now it's time to talk about it. We might get a bit controversial here. I love Leviathan. This ride is fantastic. Out of 306 roller coasters I've ridden, I have it at number 11. It's smooth, fast, refreshing. If you have ridden a B&M Giga hypermodel coaster, you know exactly what I mean when I say refreshing. Now you may be wondering, what's so controversial about that, right? Well, I have ridden its sister, Fury 325, at my home park, Carowinds, and at the time of this recording, I've ridden it 435 times. I know Fury very, very well. And I have to say it, I think. I've only ridden Leviathan 3 times, but Leviathan's first half just might be better than Fury's first half. Okay, I know that's almost crazy to say. Okay, but if you put Leviathan's first half on Fury right up until the treble clef, Fury 325 would be the best ride in the world, in my opinion. Right, I have Fury at 3 overall for me, but the first turn, the drop in the first turn on Leviathan is spectacular, right? The way you go into and kind of over the parking lot, you get this weird parallax distortion of the cars in the parking lot. I don't know, I can't explain it that well, but it's a great ride. And if you have not given Leviathan a chance and you are familiar with, Orion and Fury, make your way out to Canada, ride Leviathan, and tell me if I'm crazy or not. But I really think that Leviathan's front half is legendary. Canada's Wonderland had a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic rides, and some fantastic shows. Overall, I'd say Canada's Wonderland is pretty fantastic. A.